Hello and welcome to Church at Home with Rachel for Tuesday, the 4th of April. Today I want to talk about a meme that I saw and shared on my Facebook page. And I don't have kids following me, and I'm cool with that. And so I don't think I would have shared it. But there's this incredible art form of artistry that comes out of our newspapers. And when I was in Halifax, there was the Chronicle Herald had an incredible, maybe still does, have an incredible artist who would do up cartoons um, that were political satire. And he would take whatever was happening of the day and he would make something that spoke powerfully. It might only have like one sentence underneath it, but the picture itself spoke to the heart of the matter, whether it was, a helicopter crash in the Mediterranean Sea and several members of the Canadian Armed Forces were killed, or the RCMP tragedy, or the mass casualty tragedy in Nova Scotia a couple of years ago. Over the years, he did so many very different things that were very powerful, very quite often quite contentious. People got very frustrated or angry, but they made people think. And the other day I saw one, can't remember who created it. I wish I could remember. It's on my Facebook page if you want to check it out. And it's a picture of a woman, sort of looks like a upper middle class woman, walking through a classroom with her daughter's hand in tow, very clearly telling her daughter not to look at a picture on the wall. That was a picture of the statue David, by Michelangelo, who is a naked figure as a naked man. And she's telling the girl to avoid looking at that while they walk past the bodies of children and teacher who were killed in Nashville, Tennessee. That's the picture speaks more than a thousand words. It speaks to hypocrisy. It speaks to the child. I don't even want to say childish because children have this incredible curiosity and they have an ability to discern things that parents and adults often overlook. So saying something that it was childish, saying something is childish is really an insult to children. But the banality of what is happening in our world, and I'm not just talking about, for those of you who get mad at me because I'm not American, I talk about American stuff. I'm talking about Canada too. Like this is happening here too. It just hasn't hit the news. It's not on as big a scope. But this idea that people would see what happened, three children killed, three adults killed, three 9-year-olds killed, and three women in their 60s killed, and then a 20, I think she was 28-year-old killed after she took their lives in a Christian school in Nashville, Tennessee. Because we've got this happening here. At the same time, you've got a teacher being fired because three families, I believe, maybe I'm wrong, but three families complained because she shared in school the incredible, iconic picture of the statue, the carving of David, who is naked. It's the human form. It's nothing preposterous. It's nothing pornographic. It's nothing wild and crazy. Um, Probably most men would look at that and think, it's nothing to look, not much to look at. That's the point. He's just a man, and he's been a man. That statue has been around forever. Like, well, not forever. It's been around for a very, very long time, and it's powerful, and it's considered art. And yet we have people who are not teachers, people who are politicians who may or may never have shown their children, if they have children, these things, or talked to them about what art might be or what this might mean. Um, People who are politicians who are making decisions for people who have not even talked to the people themselves. That they're allowing those people who yell the loudest to make decisions for them because they're scared of not being elected into their position, into their power position. And drag queens not being allowed to read stories to children. Like I saw another meme about when was the last time a child heard a story told to them and went out and threw books at people. Like you have guns in your house. You better damn well lock them up and make sure that key is nowhere near them. Take out the firing pin, make sure, because those kids, look what they're paying attention to. Kids pay attention to what's on the news. They pay attention to what's the fuss about? What's everybody paying attention to? And what are people paying attention to? They're talking about Huck Finn being removed from libraries again. They're talking about Jodi Picoult's, the storyteller, I think that's the name of the book, being removed from libraries in Florida because somebody had a problem because it was about the Holocaust. Okay, when we stop talking about it, we will repeat it. Kids are going to pay attention to what we tell them to. And what we're inadvertently or quite advertently telling them pay attention to is guns, to pay attention to banning things. And what does that do? That tells kids it's banned. I should find out more about it. What would happen if we just very gently said, you know what? We're going to stop talking about guns. If you want to own your own gun, live in a state in which you can have your own gun. There's no need to bring it to school. There's no need to take it to the grocery store. There's no need to whip it out at every moment. We've stopped learning how to communicate with one another as people, and we're treating each other as enemies. We need to recognize where our priorities must lie. And those pieces of artwork, I talked about those cartoons that speak satire, political satire, they teach us so much if we're willing to pay attention. The idea that we're more worried about a child seeing the naked body of David in stone, in a picture, in a textbook, when we're not paying attention to the fact that kids have been playing doctor since the beginning of time. Do you honestly think your 6-year-old hasn't seen a naked boy? Even if it's just her dad coming in the shower when she opened the bedroom door, like the bathroom door, that things happen. But we're not paying attention to that. We're saying the guns is an adult issue. Let's let the adults deal with that. I'm sorry. Those 3 children just prove that it's not an adult issue. This is very much about our children. We should not expect our teachers to become weapon holding, wielding life or guards at security guards at schools. They should be teaching our children. They should be learning how to teach our children how to look at art, to listen to a story told by someone wearing a dress or not, who's simply telling the story, because guess where their imagination goes? It goes with the words of the story, not the words of the person who's wearing it. How many people went to see Mrs. Doubtfire when Robin Williams simply dressed up as a woman so he could be the nanny to his own children? That movie was hilarious. I owned it. I watched it a dozen times. Never even thought about it being drag. Think about Tootsie and Dustin Hoffman and like what that did for his career. People didn't freak out about it. What is going on today? We need to just shake our heads. Our society needs to give itself a shake and say, what is more important? Is it more important for us to pay attention to politicians who may or may not have the actual brain capacity to do the job well if they get elected? Because anybody with brain capacity knows that learning and critical thinking and teaching children science and math and how to, even how to argue about it, like, don't not teach them something, teach them how to disagree with it. That's much more important. They can disagree with something as it's being presented, but if we're never taught how to debate, and in order to debate, we have to be able to handle both sides of the story, both sides of the information. If we can't debate, we become again authoritarian. We will end up with leaders who tell us what to think. And isn't that exactly what's happening? And the problem is that it's not just the leaders who are telling us what to think, it's the big money lobbies who are telling us what to think. In the 70s, it was cigarette companies. Right now, it's tech, it's guns, it is big oil and gas. We know climate change is ruining our world faster than it would naturally have happened. But we're talking about not just the extinction of some species, but we're talking the extinction of our own. And yet, big oil and gas, many of whom have already started investing their own money in alternative forms of energy, they're holding the purse strings, and they're determining what our politicians listen to and how they speak. We need to start paying attention to those memes, those comics, those things that make us look at the world from a slightly different perspective and pull us up short and say, what am I thinking about here? Because we can't simply be like lemmings running off the edge of the cliff. We can't be like lambs following the voice of one that's, seems to be safe until we lead ourselves right into the slaughterhouse. We need to start thinking. God gave us brains. We need to start using them. And we need to start paying attention to what really matters. And I'm thinking gun control is one of those things that really matters. Have a great day. God bless. And I'll see you again tomorrow for Church at Home.